I'm Joe.
I'm Jen.
And we are the Dillards.
We are the small group pastors at Destiny Church. Being very honest, we had just come out of a season where we needed family, we needed community, we needed consistency, and we found all of those things at Destiny first Sunday. Yeah. From worship to the Word to just feeling that spirit of connection, I mean, to God and to other people. And so it definitely filled a place for us that we'd been needing.
We knew some people that were already at the church attending, and so we had camaraderie already. So we didn't honestly weren't really planning on staying. We kind of thought we were just going to visit for a while, and then we figured that a job would open up and we'd go somewhere different or whatever. And then 20 years later, here we are. We've never been the kind of people who just to sit around and attend somewhere. We always felt like we needed to get involved somehow. And once we started to get involved, we realized that there were needs, so we just started to step in and fill a need. And I think probably within the first year that we were attending Destiny Church, Gene had asked us to step in as college-age leaders, and we started a college-age group. And I remember our first event, we had planned it, and we were ready to go.
We were going to eat Mexican food after church.
Yeah, that Sunday morning, Jen went into labor with our first kid, and so that's it's been, like I said, ever since then.
And she's 18 now.
Yeah, so we knew it was time for us to be a part of the church, and so
we started as young adult pastors. Mm-hmm. Then we were youth pastors. That was just
it was amazing. The best of times. It was the worst of times.
It was the highest.
Yeah, they say it takes a village, and it really did. I mean, the best part that we've loved about being connected with Destiny Church for as long as we had is we've seen people come and go. We've seen, families, leaders, pastors, and come and go and serve in different roles and move on to the next thing. But we knew that no matter what, everything that our kids were doing, from preschool all the way through currently now in youth group, we trusted and knew that God had placed the right people to lead those ministries to help them navigate their younger years all the way through their teens. Sunday morning does not feel like it's any different than a youth service because it's relevant teaching, amazing worship, and it's an opportunity to hear from God. No matter your age, no matter the group that you're in. And so we loved that we didn't have, we never had a chance, or we never had a problem inviting someone to come to our church. We've been to some churches where it was like, I ain't inviting anybody to come to this church, just because things were weird, and God still worked and still moved, and that's part of who we are today. But that's why we love Destiny Church, and that's why we've been here for as long as we've been here, because
in culture and society, our kids consistently see the moving on, or the movement, or a lack of commitment, or just a variety of things. But in their entire, we can say that our daughter, 18 years of her life, Baylor's 15 years of his life, have been a thread of consistency of worship and community and people. I would say their faith was developed in the consistency and community of what Destiny provides.
We are the Martins, and we are both section leaders at Destiny, and I also help out in pre-K, and then when I get a chance, I also do with the serve team when I can.
My first impression of coming to Destiny was that it was special. It was a place where, we've been to a lot of churches over the years, and none of them were bad per se, but this felt like a real connection right from the very first day. And so I felt like at least the first or second time that I naturally fit in, and I think Amber felt the same way, and we were kind of excited about growing our faith and our friendships and our network within Destiny.
I'll say for myself, what made me want to come back was, just the atmosphere. I really like the upbeat worship, and, that was kind of a big thing for me. And then also, just the second time we were back, PG already knew our names and immediately, recognized us. And said welcome back, and it just felt like it mattered, and he knew we were there the first time and we're back again. So kind of, felt like we were seen, I guess you could say, because some places it doesn't feel like that. So
everyone cares so much about people who walk in and out of that door, and there's just a culture in the church that is very, very deep, and sometimes you don't see that, but I feel so confident when I walk through that door that you're 100% loved by everyone. It feels like what Jesus expects us to be like. It's like, love your neighbor, and when you walk in the Church of Destiny, that's absolutely the way you feel. It became really easy in just a short while, to know that we wanted all of our friends and all of our family to go to this church. And so it started with Vanessa Summers, my niece.
I started coming to Destiny Church when my uncle Andy invited me in 2020, right after COVID, and I never stopped. Some of my first impressions when I walked into Destiny Church was how welcoming it was. It felt like a family right off the bat, and everybody followed up with questions and really wanted to get to know you, and I love that about it. Quickly started talking to a lot of volunteers, and they became family, and I asked how I could get invested. I stopped by the garage door, or the hub at the time at the other location, and my son at the time was in the preschool, and that's the first place I signed up to start serving, and my Aunt Amber and I did it together, and we're still doing it today.
Big Mike became a big mentor for me, and he still is, so that helped a lot, and that's what I wanted to do, was try to help mentor the younger students and kids and the youth. Some of my favorite things is I definitely love when PG is at the front of the church, right at the doors. He's there every time to talk to you, tell you good morning, tell you bye. That is probably one of my favorite things about when going to Destiny Church.
When I first started, I was a single mom, and for 2 years, the church walked through that single mom with me and my son Benjamin, and just really invested on praying and hand-holding and helping me grow to who I am today so that I can be a wife. When I first started attending Destiny Church, I was really unhappy with my environment that I was in. I started tithing weekly, what I could, and then I also started giving where I couldn't. So even it was showing up in actions and serving. And then I started giving for about 6 months went by, and I got a promotion to go to the home office and promote. And it was really eye-opening. Ever since then, I've been at the home office, and I truly believe that giving and trusting God built that foundation, and we are able to honor it today too.
And then that spawned off to Sister Londa Summers and her family, Joey.
So my little brother used to tell me about this amazing church that he goes to with amazing pastors, and wanted me to go really bad, but I just didn't do it. And then he got my daughter to go with him. And then when my daughter started going, Vanessa Summers, she told me just how wonderful it was, just like him. And it was something that they didn't drop, because they really wanted me there. And so I went with my daughter. And at the time, my husband was working, Joey was working away all the time and couldn't go with me. And I would go to church with my brother, my daughter, and I would end up crying because my husband's not there. I would end up on my knees in the front praying for him to be there and praying for him to want to be there. And then that door opened, and he is able to come to church and go to work, and he doesn't hardly miss. And then my mom started to come, and then we started section leading and door greeting, and just became deeper in and feel so connected. And I invite everyone I know. And now Joey's brother goes, and his girlfriend, and his dad and mom, they go too.
Her brother, Vanessa, they'd try to get me to go, but I'd always be leaving the next day, and I never would go. And then Londa started going, and she started on me, and then as things freed up a little bit, I went for the first time and listened to the worship, and then
never missed since then.
I've not missed very many sessions since then. One of the favorite things is the worship. I've always been into the music, and it just feels like God's so present in the church at the time of worship. But the amazing thing is how the younger generation, you can watch them up there just be so active and getting the attention of the younger people that's going to be carrying this out in the future, you know. I've never seen that before to Destiny.
And to watch our daughter and our son-in-law worship in front of us, and it's amazing.
Watch our grandson worship.
Oh yeah, our little grandson. He's all into raising his arms and praising God, and he knows what he's doing it for.
And then that spawned off to her grandparents on the other side, and spawned off to her cousins, and there's a whole kind of a section now that's full either of our really close friends or family. And Bill Oakes is a very good friend of mine who, when I first mentioned this to him about coming, I didn't know how he was going to react. I really didn't, and he's just a very good and decent man, and I approached him with it, and he said, I'll give it a shot, and he never quit going.
About the first time I attended was best friend Andy Martin. He invited me to Man University, and he knew that I was in a real bad place at the time, and I decided to go just to keep my word with him. And when I first walked through the door, I met Pastor Gene, and I just knew right away that that's where I needed to be. And it was the trust, like I spoke of. It's just a trust with Pastor Gene, and ever since that, the Man University, I have missed very few Sundays. First impressions I got was, the door greeters. Nobody is a stranger in that building. Nobody's a stranger. There's no cliques. There's no everybody. It just seems like it's a team of one, and we're all there for one goal, and that's Jesus. Period. I was in a bad place. I was real dark. Thought I was by myself, and tried to battle it by myself, and I didn't know that I had two of my best friends had been praying for me. I know I've changed. I know I have changed, and it's like giving a gift to a child on Christmas. You get just as much or more than enjoyment than the kid gets. I try to take what I've learned on Sunday and apply it to my daily life. I brought a good friend of mine and his family, and he was just taken aback at how people welcomed him in there like not a stranger. I brought a friend of mine, I picked him up and brought him, and he doesn't want to miss a Sunday now. The handshakes are real, the hugs are real, and it doesn't matter who it is in that building. To me, it's the way I feel about it is there's just, I don't know, there's nothing, it's really hard to explain. I remember when Tamara first started up there and on the team, and she just seemed timid, but she was answering the call, and I watched her grow and to become, one of the main parts of that worship team. And just watching her grow from that, and I met her family, and they're just amazing, amazing people. Like I said, the whole crew is just incredible.
Well, my name is Tamara Allen. I have been at Destiny Church since I was 12 or 13 years old, and I'm now 27. I am involved in the worship team. So I started coming to Destiny with my family at, like I said, 12 or 13 years old. I was young. I was nervous my first time coming. I remember my first night of youth, actually, like it was yesterday. I remember it very clearly. And I just felt welcomed from the beginning. And so that's kind of how I started with the youth group. And I instantly got plugged in. I started looking forward to coming every week. I built relationships and connections with friends there. I had a couple of mentors I was really close to in youth group, and it just quickly became very important and special to me being involved there.
My first impressions of coming to Destiny Church was just it was really friendly, and I could just tell that it felt like a very family atmosphere, and that's where we wanted to be. I could tell the relationships with everybody in the church, and I just got connected very fast, and it was very easy, and it just felt right.
And then after I graduated high school, I wouldn't say I turned my back on the Lord, but I was definitely living for the world. I kind of to the side to the Lord, turned my side to the Lord, then that's actually where our story started. And everyone has a past. And so we very early on actually got pregnant with our son, and that just opened my eyes to like show me like, okay, something needs to change here. So the restoration that came from us coming back to Destiny and me getting plugged back in the worship team has been absolutely beautiful. I will say that the difference, like Tristan and I's relationship, our marriage, and like our relationship with the Lord, I was confused because like we were doing great and we were growing in the Lord, but it still felt like something was missing. And we would talk about that at home, like I wasn't sure what was missing, but there was something. And that question has been answered with being plugged back in. It's different attending a church and being connected and serving, and that's just something that we have really recognized in our journey of being back here. Being able to have our children plugged in, looking forward to seeing their friends, looking forward to seeing the teachers, us developing relationships, him growing and like meeting his own people at Destiny, and building relationships. It's been really special.
I've really seen God move in our marriage 100%, and I've seen us pursuing Him together. We actually come together and pray over the kids at night, and just, it's been a really big movement forward for us coming back. Like I said, the connections is one of my favorite things about Destiny Church, the friendships, and I really like the pastor. I like the messages he brings. I can really relate, and I like the way he preaches. The worship team's amazing, really is. It is.
The future's bright at Destiny because there's so much love in that church, and there's so much of Jesus' presence in there. You can feel it every single week. And I think the thing that I'm excited about the most is continuing to watch that church grow and grow. And I know it's going to, because you can see it almost every Sunday where there's more people that you're meeting, more people you're talking to.
It excited me to think that Benny's wife and Benny's children will go there, and that my legacy will be family that I'm bringing in continue to go. And someday I'll be a little old lady watching my great grandkids up there. That's the future I'm excited about, that my family will be there and I'll see the generations behind me there. And I know they're going to feel at home and loved just as much as we do.
The younger generation that just comes through this church I've never seen before, and it's amazing watching the younger people on it.
Yeah.
Being able to be a part of that, it's just mind-blowing that even being able to be a part of that.
And so we could see how the times when we've had all of this influx and growth, and then it kind of levels off a little bit, we see like there's moments where God was revealing to us, okay, hey, you need to tweak how you're doing this ministry, or maybe someone new needs to step into this ministry to reach a different demographic or reach a different goal. And so it's cool to go back and see how in those highs and lows and even the plateaus of numerical growth, we've always had spiritual growth, and we've always had like that forward progression of giving people an opportunity to grow deeper, to love God, to love people, and to teach others to do the same.
Looking back, within the last 20 years, there were just broken parts. And I'm grateful that God provided a place where He healed that. But there was never a moment that I didn't feel valued and valuable in those moments of the last 20 years. And I'm grateful that I get to be a part of a place that provides that for other people.
I'm grateful that God chose Destiny Church to be a place where people can meet Him. I'm grateful that in my darkest hour, I wasn't alone. But even when I'm on the mountaintop, I have people celebrating with me. And I'm so grateful for God choosing Destiny Church and us to cross paths and to be where we've been for the last 20 years.
I'm grateful for my dad attending church at Destiny's Church. He loved it.
I am grateful for becoming a youth leader.
I am so grateful for some things at church. Like, I feel like I'm growing closer to God. I feel like when I go up front and we're worshiping, that I can feel Him. And I love that, and I live for that. I need that.
I'm grateful for the Lord's restoration.
I'm grateful for our children's growth at DC.
I'm most grateful for the worship team at Destiny, Pastor Gene.
And I'm grateful that my husband's at church with me now. It's wonderful.
I'm grateful for the church. I'm grateful for the people within the church make it such a special place.
I'm grateful for our kids getting connected at DC and building relationships with the teachers.
I'm grateful for PG's message on Sundays.
I'm grateful for finding my husband at Destiny Church.
I'm grateful for finding my wife at church.
I'm grateful for Jesus becoming a much deeper part of my life. I'm grateful for the BB family who have such an enormous love for people and who are a big part of what makes you want to come back.
I'm grateful that my wife didn't give up and got me talked into going to church. I'm grateful for all the things that God has done in my life since I've been going to church. I'm grateful that I get to spend a lot more time at home with the family and the grandkids, watching them grow up and watching everything grow. I mean, it's
God
just
gave
so
us that
amazing.
blessing.
That's
gave us that.
100% from God.
Yes.
I'm grateful for my son having community and mentors as he grows up.
I'm grateful for finding friends and family at the church.
You know, grateful for the friendships that we've made within the church, and I'm grateful for, you know, all the love that we felt from the second we walked in the door.
I'm grateful that our whole family is worshiping every Sunday together under one roof.
I think I'm most grateful for the fact that through this church, Jesus has dug deep into my heart and continued to build me as a better person.